my name is Toyah-Marie, and I'm here to talk to you guys, well, in my current case, you, the camera, about my artwork. So, where should we start? Well, let's start with the most obvious thing. My artwork is about Clockwork humans, aka steampunk work, and cyborgs. Hence my cyborg makeup here, and of course my steampunk Clockwork human makeup. So, to answer a few questions then, why did I choose the theme Clockwork humans and cyborgs? I kind of got the inspiration mainly from the summertime projects that we got set, and I looked at the artist Elizabeth Price. Now, Elizabeth Price created work, well, the one that I was inspired the most by. She takes like Renaissance style buildings and like museums and churches and things like that, then recreates and digitalizes them and creates like almost like a digital version of them. And there's only like a minute part of her work that she does this in, but that's something that really inspired me. So I took a lot of influence and a lot of work based along hers. Another reason why I've been doing, and I am doing, Clockwork humans and cyborgs, it's because of my personal experiences. And I know a lot of my work is based on personal experience, and I did try initially when I started this project not to be involved with my personal experiences or make it very personal to me. It was very unintentional, but I kind of felt like this is more of a stronger point for me to work with. If you read on my blog, I've basically explained quite a lot in detail what happened to me in my past experiences to why I've been creating work about this. Now, I'm not ashamed of what's happened anymore, and I've come to terms with it all. I've had counselling. I'm currently going through CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, to which I can use to help me process everything that's happened, and therefore why I'm, I guess, a bit more relaxed with all of this and kind of accepted the fact that this has happened. But, sorry, I really don't care anymore. Like, I've reached the point of I don't care, so if someone asks, I will talk about it. So let's start off the basis of my work to give you an idea and a background idea to why it's kind of led through to my work now. So let's go all the way back. When I was 18, here we go, I was in my first proper relationship, and bear in mind, I was always the bullied kid at school. I was always the kid that was made to feel like they weren't worth anything. If it wasn't my hair or the way that I dressed, it was my body. So I was very self-conscious and I hated myself quite a lot. And I had that for many years. I've had that for all my school life. I was always bullied, and I was always made to feel like I wasn't worth anything. So when I got to my first proper relationship at the age of 18, I felt loved and I felt very wanted. You know, the typical cliche stuff. And I met this chap, went through wrestling, and he was a little bit older than me. I was 18, he was 23, turning on 24. So 6 years, give it or take. What I didn't realise was that this relationship would have been the biggest life-changing moment for me. And most possibly the best way to describe it, not in the best ways for it to have happened to me. When I got with this chap, yes, I was a virgin at the time. But what I didn't realise, through my naivety and being so naive, he took advantage of that. And I didn't realise that if I said no or I wasn't up for something, that him continuing classifies as sexual assault. And on several accounts, I was raped by my supposed boyfriend at the time. Yes, it's quite a difficult subject to be talking about. The fact that the first time I had sex and lost my virginity, I was raped because I said no, and yet he still continued on. And I said yes for the fact of he's not going to stop, so I might as well kind of grin and bear it kind of thing. This kind of continued on because he lived about 2.5 hours away from me, so we only got to see each other about 2-3 times a month, and we'd see each other at wrestling shows and things like that, so it didn't really faze me. I didn't see him that much. But that's when the abuse really started kicking in. He used to get very angry with me, he used to drink a lot, and then he'd start hitting me. But he was very clever in the places that he hit me, to which I could hide the bruising and blame it on wrestling. So, oh, I got this from wrestling training, oh, I got this from wrestling match. Not the fact of that my boyfriend would hit me and abuse me if I was to say no to him at all. If he wanted something and I said no, I would get hit for it as such. So that's really damaged me. It was only a 6-month relationship, give or take a few months, because I didn't really see him. He started cheating on me 4 months into the relationship with a girl much younger than him. So you've got to bear in mind, with all that happened to me when I was younger, being bullied, being made not to feel worth anything, then getting into a relationship to which made me feel 10 times worse than I did, my depression started to kick in. When my boyfriend at the time broke up with me, it was very heartbreaking because I was going through a lot as it was. My grandfather had several strokes, to which we nearly lost him. I was losing my friends, my grades weren't very well, so everything was piling up on top of me. And then fast forward to the following year, at the age of 19, I was then diagnosed with my disability, which is functional neurological disorder. And the basic terms of that is a form of MS, it's a form of Tourette's, it's a form of epilepsy, it's a vast array of things, and it's just an umbrella term for disability. So that, on top of everything else that happened to me, was very difficult because I was going through so much stress trying to find out why I was having seizures, why I was so ill, and why I collapsed. And after having my first mini stroke, a TIA, it kind of kept going downhill from there. And going forth kind of thing, and then having another 2 further strokes, my body has now a weakness. And at the age of 20, the August before I was leaving to go to uni, I finally got a diagnosis. So I was dealing with a lot of stress through that time. Bear in mind, I'd lost my boyfriend that was abusive to me literally the year before. I was going through a lot of stress with my health, therefore I could no longer wrestle. My grandfather is now disabled through his strokes, so I was going through a lot at the time. I started uni, and I thought it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Don't get me wrong, being in the art department, being with all you guys has been such a lifesaver for me. But I made a fresh mistake, and I entered another abusive relationship. Go me. So that started to take its toll on me, and me and him were in together for a few weeks, but that really brought me down through the abuse that I went through being with this chap. Through to the next year, 2015, that's when my life really started to change. My depression wasn't too bad, but it was getting a lot worse. And I was starting to go back to the state I was going in when I was younger, and it was alright. I went to my first festival, I had a fantastic year up till summer. I'd met a chap, and he's from the chemistry department. Me and him really clicked. And I thought, oh wow, this guy actually treats me right, and I thought it'd be a nice relationship. Little did I know that that would be the worst summer of my life. I was in a very mentally abusive relationship. No, he did not harm me physically, but mentally, he really, really harmed and affected me. I was constantly going up and down to see the Samaritans. I was constantly phoning the Samaritans. I was having a breakdown almost every single day of July through to the start of September. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I had considered taking my own life and committing suicide just to end the pain. It's a difficult subject to talk about, but that's what I'm not ashamed of, because I will put my hands up and openly admit I've tried to commit suicide because I wanted the pain to stop. I couldn't deal with the fact of I was constantly in pain and I couldn't feel anything anymore. So it got to the extent of where I was that depressed, I became numb, where I couldn't feel happiness, I couldn't feel sadness, I couldn't feel anything. And that's when I really started to look at the summer project over the summer term. And it was only until September time, during my 21st, when I went to Barcelona, did my life start really picking up for me. But after having the summer from hell, where I tried to commit suicide several times, it was a pick-me-up that I really needed. So after giving you guys this backstory, you're going to ask me, why the fuck are you talking about all this to how this relates to your artwork? Well, I'll explain to you now. During that time when I felt so depressed and so self-detached, I felt like a robot. And looking at the artist Elizabeth Price, it kind of gave me the inspiration to think, well, if that's how I felt, why not create work about it? Because I stand by the point, robots have no feelings and no emotions, be it steampunk, be it futuristic. They have no feelings, they have no emotions. They are told how to feel, how to act, how to do anything. And that's how I felt. I felt to the extent of where I couldn't feel anything. And sometimes when I get low, I feel numb. I no longer feel anything. Hence why I'm using this to my own advantage, to use it within my artwork. Because if I can't feel an emotion, then I think, well, how will the robot be about it? Because yeah, I did become very robotic. And I was also looking up some other artists, for example, Sarah R. Bloom and Francesca Woodman and Tracy Edman. They've all created work about their own personal experiences. Yes, Francesca Woodman did commit suicide, which is unfortunate at the time, but these women created artwork about their personal experiences that affected them. Tracy Edman was sexually abused and raped by the age of 13, hence why she went the other path, and she slept around a lot, created the set that pretend about people who I've had sex with. Sarah R. Bloom created work about her own self-detachment and the woman who sleeps with monsters. It's for self-photography where she is nude, stripped and bare. So she created work about that. That was her way of getting over her depression and dealing with all those emotions. So for me, this is what I'm doing to keep myself going and not go back to that very, very dark place. But on a more lighter note, for me, I enjoy creating work about this. It's something I've always been inspired by, like the whole digital world and how we become digitalised and how it controls us. I just took an inspiration to it, and I've always loved steampunk style. I think that the way they use the cogs and the bronze and how futuristic it is set back in such a Victorian old-fashioned time is amazing. But then when you've got the cyborgs, they're so futuristic and so realistic sometimes, it's amazing. So to have the contrast between the two, for me, is such an incredible thing. So I'm going to stop this video right now, and I'm going to play a little game with you guys. After giving you this backstory, you see that piece of paper I've given you before I start this presentation? On there's a name and title and possibly a link to a video. Now, if you've got your mobile or tablet device or anything like that connects to the internet, do me a favour, type in this name and the link, preferably, but go onto YouTube and I want you to type in this name in this video. And therefore, we will continue on from there.